Hello students, today let's talk about food security. Food security means availability, accessibility and affordability of food to all people at all times. The poor households are more vulnerable to food insecurity when there is a problem of production and distribution of food crops. Food security depends on the public distribution system and government vigilance. But food security means something more than getting two square meals. Food security has following dimensions. Availability of food means food production within the country, food imports, and the previous year's stock stored in government granaries. Accessibility means food is within reach of every person. Affordability implies that an individual has enough money to buy sufficient, safe, and nutritious food to meet one's dietary needs. Thus, food insecurity is ensured in a country only if 1. Enough food is available for all persons, 2. All persons have the capacity to buy food of acceptable quality, and 3. There is no barrier on access to food. The poorest section of the society might be food insecure most of the times, while persons above the poverty line might also be food insecure when the country faces a national disaster or calamity like earthquake, drought, flood, tsunami, famine, etc. Due to a natural calamity, say drought, total production of food grain decreases. It creates a shortage of food in the affected areas. Due to shortage of food, the prices go up. At high prices, some people cannot afford to buy food. If such calamity happens in a widespread area or is stretched over a long period of time, it may cause a situation of starvation. A massive starvation might take a turn of famine. A famine is characterized by widespread deaths due to starvation and epidemics caused by forced use of contaminated water or decaying food. The most devastating famine that occurred in India was the famine of Bengal in 1943. This famine killed 30 lakh people in the province of Bengal. Although a large section of people suffer from food and nutrition insecurity in India, the worst affected groups are landless people with little or no land to depend upon. Traditional artisans, providers of traditional services, petty self-employed workers, and destitutes including beggars. In the urban areas, the food insecure families are those whose working members are generally employed in ill-paid occupations and casual labor market. The social composition along with the inability to buy food also plays a role in food insecurity. The SCs, STs, and some sections of the OBCs who have either poor land base or very low land productivity are prone to food insecurity. The people affected by natural disasters who have to migrate to other areas in search of work are also among the most food insecure people. A high instance of malnutrition prevails among women. This is a matter of serious concern as it puts even the unborn baby at the risk of malnutrition. A large proportion of pregnant and nursing mothers and children under the age of 5 years constitute an important segment of the food insecure population. The food insecure people are disproportionately large in some regions of the country, such as economically backward states with high incidence of poverty, tribal and remote areas, regions more prone to natural disasters. In fact, the states of Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Jharkhand, Orissa, West Bengal, Chhattisgarh, parts of Madhya Pradesh and Maharashtra account for largest number of food insecure people in the country. Poor people suffer from chronic hunger because of their low income and in turn ability to buy food even for survival. Seasonal hunger is related to cycles of growing food and harvesting. This is prevalent in rural areas because of the seasonal nature of agricultural activities and in urban areas because of casual laborers. Example, there is less work for casual construction laborers during the rainy season. Hello students, let's talk about food security. India is aiming at self-sufficiency in food grains since independence. After independence, Indian policymakers adopted all measures to achieve self-sufficiency in food grains. But what happened, students? India adopted a new strategy in agriculture which resulted in green revolution, especially in the production of wheat and rice. Hello students. Food security in India. Since the advent of the Green Revolution in the 1970s, the country has avoided famine even during the worst weather conditions. India has become self-sufficient in food grains during the last 30 years because of a variety of crops grown all over the country. The availability of food grains, even in adverse weather conditions or otherwise, at the country level has further been ensured with a carefully designed food security system by the government. This system has two components, a buffer stock and second, public distribution system. Hi students, let's talk about buffer stock. Buffer stock is the stock of food grains, namely wheat and rice, procured by the government through the Food Corporation of India. The Food Corporation of India purchases wheat and rice from the farmers in state where there is surplus production. The farmers are paid a pre-announced price for their crops. This price is called minimum support price or MSP. The MSP, minimum support price, is declared by the government every year before the sowing season to provide incentives for farmers to raising the production of these crops. The purchased food grains are stored in granaries. Do you know why this buffer stock is created by the government? This is done to distribute food grains in the deficit areas and among the poorer states or the poorest strata of the city at a lower price than the market price, also known as issue price. This also helps resolve the problem of shortage of food during adverse weather conditions or during periods of calamity. Hi students, let's talk about public distribution system. What is public distribution system? The food procured by the FCI is distributed through government regulated ration shops among the poorer sections of the society. This is called public distribution system. Ration shops are now present in most localities, villages, towns and cities. There are about 5.5 lakh ration shops all over the country. Ration shops, also known as fair price shops, keep stock of food grains, sugar and kerosene for cooking. These items are sold to people at a lower price than the market price. Any family with a ration card can buy a stipulated amount of these items. Hi students, let's talk about ration shops. The introduction of rationing in India dates back to the 1940s against the backdrop of Bengal famine. The rationing system was revived in the wake of an acute food shortage during the 1960s prior to the Green Revolution. In the wake of the high incidence of poverty levels as reported by the NSSO in the mid-1970s, three important public intervention programs were introduced. Public Distribution System (PDS) for food grains, Integrated Child Development Services introduced in 1975, and Food for Work introduced in 1977-1978. Over the years, several new programs have been launched, and some have been restructured with the growing experience of administering the programs. At present, there are several poverty alleviation programs, mostly in rural areas, which have an explicit. Hi students, let's talk about the current status of public distribution system. Public distribution system is PDS is the most important step taken by the Government of India GOI towards ensuring food security. In the beginning, the coverage of PDS was universal, with no discrimination between the poor and the non-poor. But over the years, the policy related to PDS has been revised to make it more efficient and targeted. In 1992, revamped public distribution system RPDS was introduced in 1700 blocks in the country. The target was to provide the benefits of PDS to remote and backward areas. From June 1997, in a renewed attempt, Targeted Public Distribution System TPDS was introduced to adopt the principle of targeting the poor in all areas. The PDS has proved to be the most effective instrument of government policy over the years in stabilizing prices and making food available to consumers at affordable prices. It has been instrumental in averting widespread hunger and famine by supplying food from surplus regions of the country to the deficit ones. In addition, the prices have been under revision in favor of poor households in general. The system, including the minimum support price and procurement, has contributed to an increase in food grain production and provided income security to farmers in certain regions. However, the public distribution system has faced severe criticism on several grounds. Instances of hunger are prevalent despite overflowing granaries. FCI godowns are overflowing with grains, with some rotting away. Hi students, we are still talking about food security. There is a general consensus that high level of buffer stock of food grains is very undesirable and can be wasteful. The storage of massive food stocks has been responsible for high carrying costs, in addition to wastage and deterioration in grain quality. Freezing of MSP for a few years should be considered seriously. The increased food grains procurement at enhanced MSP is the result of the pressure exerted by leading food grain producing states such as Punjab, Haryana, and Andhra Pradesh. The intensive utilization of water in the cultivation of rice has also led to the degradation and fall in water level, threatening the sustainability of the agricultural development in these states. The rising minimum support prices MSP have raised the maintenance cost of procuring food grains by the government. Rising transportation and storage costs of the FCI are other contributing factors in this increase.